Hi friends, welcome to Raising Lifelong Learners. I'm your host, Colleen Kessler, and this is the podcast where I encourage you to trust yourself and your differently wired kiddos as you help cultivate their curiosity, encourage them to discover the world around them, embrace who they are wired to be, all while helping them discover their passions, interests, and raise them to become the amazing adults they're meant to be. Hey, welcome back. This is episode 280. Today we are talking again, because I've talked about it before, about building family connections. Today though, we're going to focus on building family connections and why it's so important with your tweens and teens and young adult children. Mostly though, with your teens and young adult children. It's really important, and it's a demographic of our kids that we often forget, or a group of our kids that we've kind of given up on the connection part because we think like they don't want to spend time with us, so we're not going to bother, or we've already done our job. And it's super important to remember how much they still need us and how much we still have to offer them. I'm also going to talk about a family connection challenge that is happening in the Learners Lab next month that I would love for you to join us for. It's called Cracking the Code on a Deeper Family Connection. And it will be happening in the Learners Lab for all members who are listening. But there is a way for you to join us. If you are not a member, you can join us for the free challenge. And there is information over on the show notes page for this episode. So check it out at raisinglifelonglearners.com/podcast. While you're there, check out CTC Math, our sponsor, because we really appreciate them. You'll hear more about them during the podcast as well. All right, you ready for this episode? Pop those earbuds in, go for a walk, take a break, enjoy, and let's get on with today's episode. Hey there. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. You are thinking, we have talked on this podcast about family connection so many times that you're sick of it. I get you. I get it. I talk about it all the time. I've talked about it recently in the past couple of months. I want to focus today on specifically the importance of connection with your kids when they're preteens and teens, because it's really easy to think about how we're going to connect with our kids when they're little, because we get to choose what it is that we want to do with them and what it is they're going to get to do with their time. And it gets harder and harder as they get older. I'm sitting here recording this at the beginning of summer vacation for the last time for one of my kids. And it's really bittersweet. And I'm trying to find as many ways as I can to connect with her and the other kids so that we have all these memories. But I also know that I've done a good job over the last few years making connection a priority. So even if we get lost in the busyness of the summer and the day-to-day, or she wants to spend time with her friends that she's going to be separating from once she goes off to college and they go off to different places, I'll still know that I've spent a lot of time with her. But I want to focus on how things change as our kids get older, but also still the underlying reason that connection is so important no matter how old our kids are. Connection truly is the foundation for your family and for your homeschool, especially when you have neurodivergent kids. And the majority of you listening to this podcast or watching any of the clips are people who also homeschool neurodivergent kids like me. There is significant emotional, social, and academic impacts that occur when we connect with our kids on a regular basis and we make it a priority. And I want to talk too about simple ways that we can build that connection even when we're tired, even when there's a million things going on, even when we're trying to cram in all the things that we need to do before we send them off to college or whatever it is. Connection is everything. I want to be real for a minute. I know that homeschooling and parenting in general, but especially when you're homeschooling and parenting neurodivergent kids, it can feel like you're spinning plates on a tightrope, right? People are asking you, what's for dinner? Do we have this? We ran out of this, Mom. I don't have this clean. I need to be here. Oh yeah, I forgot. I need to be at such and such place tomorrow night. Can you take me there? And on and on. especially when your kids have ADHD, anxiety, or twice exceptional, are gifted in any way, or they're just wired differently. This becomes more challenging. But connection is a safety net. It's the thing that holds your family together, and it's the thing that's going to make all of those situations stuff you can look back on and you can be kind to yourself about, and you can realize that you've done the things that you need to have done. It doesn't get easier, and it doesn't negate the challenges that you're going to have as a parent or as a kid. No matter how connected you are as a family, kids are still going to struggle. Young adults are still going to struggle. Preteens are still going to struggle. You as a parent are still going to struggle. You're going to be constantly learning new things and making mistakes. I have an adult child. I have one on the verge of adulthood. And then I have a teen and a preteen. I've seen all the different milestones and different things. And I can tell you right now, every one of those kids has different challenges that they're facing as people growing into the people that they're meant to be. And it's up to us to build a foundation where they feel safe enough to talk to us about it, where they feel safe enough to come back to us when they're struggling. I want that for my kids. I want that for your kids too. I want them to know that no matter how overwhelming or big things seem, that they've got someone in their corner who's going to be there for them. Sometimes you might be facing a situation where only one of the parents in the family feel this way, where one parent they've got to figure it out on their own, and the other parents, no, we need to be there to connect with them. We need to be there to focus on the things that are important. We need to be their safe space. And parenting differences are occurring. I hear about this all the time in the Learners Lab. I've experienced it myself, where one parent is more of a tough love parent and the other parent's more of a nurturing parent, and the kids don't know what to do. I would say that if you're listening to this and you feel strongly, like I do, that family connection is the cornerstone of what it takes to build that foundation with your kids so that they know that they can always come to you when they need something and that you're going to help them through whatever's tough. I want you to know that A, you're right, and B, you can do it, even if it's just you in the house doing it. Your kids are going to know who they can go to, and they're going to know that ultimately, even when you have to speak the hard truths, you've got their back. And it's so important. Here's the thing. In adolescence, in pre-adulthood, parents and kids start to spend a little bit more time apart, right? Our teens and young adults have their friends and their social circles. It's natural for them to want to spend more time by themselves or with their peers and other people outside their families. It's totally normal. But they're also going to start seeing things, and they're not always going to realize how one-sided what they're seeing is. I've got two kids that one is a young adult, one is a teen, almost a young adult, who see things from their perspective all the time that I know they're only seeing part of it. They're not seeing the whole family dynamic. They're not seeing all of what their friends are going through. And they're not seeing the reality of everything because they don't have the scope of experience that we do. I remember being a young adult, thinking that the people around me had it all together, and then ultimately realizing that those I thought really had it together didn't. And some of those that I thought were totally screw-ups and didn't have anything going for them actually had a better plan than some of the ones that looked outwardly like they were more successful than the others. So even if our kids are starting to doubt themselves or the direction that they're on, I want them to feel that they can come to us to talk about that, and we'll help them find the solutions, even if we can't do the solving for them. Family connection and being the support person for your kids, and especially your teens and young adults, is not doing for them. It's helping them see the different paths that they can take so that they can make those changes for them. So while our teens and our young adults need a stronger relationship with their peers, they need to start making their way into the world, they also still need strong relationships with their parents so that they can feel safe and secure as they meet those new challenges that are coming forward to them. Knowing that we're there as parents to love them and support them can give them the confidence that they need to try new things, explore new ideas, interests, relationships, job opportunities, career goals, and know that if they screw up, they have a safety net. I want my kids to know that. So I've got, like I've said before, one going off to college in the fall. I want her to know that if she gets there and it's not what she expected it to be, that we can explore other options. If the major that she's chosen is not what ultimately she wants to do, then we can pivot. I want my young adult to know that too, that the direction that he's going doesn't have to be the direction that he always goes. If he wants to make a change or if he wants to try something different, then now's the time to do it. I can't tell you how many videos I've seen and books I've read and articles I've read where they talk about the person that you look at and see as the most successful person out there, or the wealthiest, or the best business owner, or whatever. How many of them got the start on whatever it is that made them successful, like later in life. And if you look back at their 20s and even into their 30s, like they weren't doing anything super successfully. But what they had was a foundation of support that they knew that they could fall back on. And I want my kids to know that I'm there for them, even if other members of the family aren't. I can't control. So here's the thing that I want you to listen to and hear really well. There are many of you out there, because I've gotten the responses to other podcast episodes that I've shared about family connection. There are many of you out there that write in or message me and say, I don't know what to do. I totally believe I've got to be the support system for my kiddos, and I want to support them. I want them to know they can always come back home. But my husband isn't on the same page as me. My husband says when they're 18, they've got to leave, that they need to figure out what they're doing, that we need to be hard on them so they can figure it out. I want you to know I hear you, and I would say you keep going the way that you're going. You keep letting your kids know that two people own that house, and they are always welcome. And you will fight toe to toe for them to be able to be a part of the family forever. They're not going to be like excommunicated or kicked out or whatever. Whatever it is you need to do to assure your kids, and then continue working on the relationship that you have with your spouse or your significant other or someone else in your family who disagrees with you. Family connection is super important, and we want our kids to know that they have a safe place to land. Now, we also want our kids to continue moving forward towards their goals and be motivated however that motivation needs to happen, whether they need to set goals and rewards for themselves or they're just intrinsically motivated so that they can do it. But we want to be there so that they have the support system in place. Staying connected with your teens and young adults is about building emotional closeness by being available to them, by being responsive to your kiddo. It's more than just spending time around them. It's really hearing them when they're struggling, when they're at a crisis point. It's also not judging them. It's helping them find solutions, or just listening if that's what they need. If they're not ready to hear the solutions, if they're not ready to take action on the solutions, it's hearing them. Connecting can be simple. It can be casual, like what you do every day, right? The everyday interactions. It can be like, I noticed you did XYZ yesterday. That was great. Amazing. I'm so proud of you. It can be, I noticed that the other day you said this, that, or the other to your sibling and it was rude. Is there a way that I could help you remember that your younger siblings are much younger than you and need to be nurtured in a healthy way? And if you're feeling frustrated, can you pull me aside and talk to me about it so you're not taking it out on them? It can also be planned, less simple. It can be when you schedule time to do things together, things that you both enjoy. I have made a point for years and years to try to take my kids with me when I travel to speak. I haven't been speaking a ton in the last couple of years, and while I would love to do more speaking again, and I'm always up for it, and if you are part of a local statewide organization that has local events, feel free to pass my name along. There's a speaking page on my website. You can send the link to your organizers. I'm happy to speak anywhere that wants to bring me out. It's just been different circumstances that have made that not possible the last couple of years, but I'm up for it anytime. And I pretty much always bring at least one kid with me because it's all my kids like to travel and they like one-on-one time. So we get time together. I love actually that my 17-year-old doesn't have her driver's license yet because she's forced to ask me to take her places. And so I still get the gift of that time with her before she leaves for college. You can plan the time together to do one-on-one things that are meaningful to you. You can also have those interactions like in a car or whatever, but it's great to have both kinds of connection in your relationship with your teens and your young adults, the casual and the planned times. I have a season pass to Cedar Point. I bought it for all of my kids this year, and I did it last year too. I can't ride any of the rides. I used to love the rides. I actually still would love to ride roller coasters, but a couple of years ago I had a serious concussion, a TBI, traumatic brain injury, and it's been advised that I don't ride rough roller coasters ever again. because once you've had a major concussion like that, you're susceptible again. And I would rather keep my brain intact so I can be here for my grandkids and their grandkids or their children if possible. And so I preserve my brain and my brain health. So I can't ride roller coasters. That said, I can go to Cedar Point with my kids. I can stand in line with them, and when we get to the top of the line, I can cross over and meet them at the exit while they do the riding. I can go get a snack and meet them at the exit gate with a snack. I can bring my iPad and let them go off on their own for a couple of rides and catch up on some emails or things like that, or read a book or listen to an audiobook. But more importantly, I can walk around the park with them. I can get meals with them. I can spend the day with them. I can spend the hour and a half drive with them chatting. I can spend the hour and a half drive home with them talking about the fun that we had. There's so many different things that going to an amusement park, even if you're not riding the rides, allows you to do, connecting with your kids, but you're connecting with them on the level of something that they enjoy doing. And that's a great one for your older kids. Some tips for that casual connecting with your teens and your preteens and your young adult children. Stop what you're doing. Focus on the moment. If your kids come up to you or they're in the same room with you and, they're just there, put down your phone, shut down your computer screen, walk away from it, even if it's just for a few seconds. Give your kiddo your full attention. Connecting works best when you send the message that right now, your child, the person in front of you, is the absolute most important thing in the entire world to you. Sometimes this is hard. I work from home. I homeschool my kids. There's a constant flow of jobs that need to be done, things that need to be replaced, things that need to be cleaned, lessons that need to be planned, work that needs to be done, podcasts that need to be recorded, videos that need to be recorded, all sorts of things. I could be working on household stuff, homeschooling stuff, or work stuff all the time. But if my kids come by and sit down in my office, I'm going to turn away from it. I'm going to say, if I'm in the middle of something that can't be stopped at that moment, give me just a second. I'll finish it up and I'll turn my back on my computer screen. Spend the time with the people who are most important to you and let them know they are most important through your actions, not just your words. Look at your child while they're talking to you. Really listen to what they're saying. This sends a message to your kids that what they say is important to you, and reflect back to them, summarize back to them, show interest in what they're talking about. Encourage your kiddos to expand on what they're saying, explore their views, their opinions, their feelings, their expectations, or their plans. Talk with them, talk through them, or through the things with them. I was just in the other room as I was preparing for this podcast episode and telling my 12-year-old that he needed to go upstairs in his room where his sister is. Right now they share like an attic space it's a finished attic, but it's one big giant long room with stairs in the middle of them. So there's two distinct sides that are their individual rooms, but they're open to each other with a little partition, and they're both disasters. They need to be completely cleaned up because we will be renovating this summer, turning them into two separate rooms, moving one downstairs, moving my office upstairs, and lots of stuff is going on, but nothing can be done until they're cleaned. So I said, you need to go clean, and I will let you know when I'm done recording because I needed to be quiet. And he was drinking a Sprite and started telling me that this new Sprite logo was more boring than the last one. And I started to brush him off because Sprite can logo. What? But I stopped and I said, what do you mean? What was the old logo? I don't know the difference. And so then he went into this big description of why this one is more boring than the last one. And even though the last one was still just the name Sprite, it was a little bit more interestingly designed than the current one. Show interest in whatever it is they're talking about because they're interesting people and they've got a thought process. And so as they get older, the more interested you are in the things that they're talking about, the more they'll come to you with things to talk about. Listen without interrupting, without judging, without correcting, as often as you possibly can. This is hard. This is hard for me. I will admit it. If my kids ever listen to this, and I know my adult child is going to be listening to this because he edits the podcasts, this is hard for me to do. I want to solve your problems. I want to help you be successful. So it is hard for me to not interrupt, give you suggestions, tell you where you went wrong and what you could do better next time, or offer a solution. But the more we can do that, the better, and the more often our kids will come to us with the struggles that they're having. Your aim is to be with your child, not to give advice and not to help unless they ask for it. The other day, one of my kids was in a situation where they were going with a friend. They were going somewhere for the day, and they got turned around. on the turnpike and couldn't figure out what was going on. And so the person, my child, was not driving and called me and had me on speaker. And my job wasn't to tell them that they had screwed up because they knew that. And all of us have messed up driving at some point. My job was to talk them through, this child and their friends, and how to get out of the situation. They called me because they knew I wasn't going to judge them. I was going to say, hey, it sucks. You're an adult. You got in this situation. This is what happens with teens and young adults. Let's get you out of it. Tell me what's around you and let me talk you through it. And we did, and they were fine. But our job is to just be there, which is like the next suggestion for these casual kinds of interactions and connections. Just be there. For example, you might be in the kitchen when your child's studying or doing some work at the table. Teens just benefit from knowing you're available and you're around. They just want to know that you have a presence and that you could be there for them. Keep in touch with them. Let them know that you're around. I thought this was really funny. So my oldest is a boy and not super touchy, lovey, feely, whatever. So I rarely send him messages. A couple of times that I have sent him messages, he's been like, are you okay? I've sent, I love you, or hi. And he'd be like, hi, what's wrong? So I just got out of the habit of doing it. But my second child, a girl, loves that. And so when I said, maybe she doesn't love it, but she responds positively. So I'm in the habit of sending her messages more often than I am my oldest. And so the two of them were out shopping one day, and I sent them both the same text message separately, just, I love you. And she wrote back, I love you too, mama, with exclamation points. And he wrote back, I love you too, question mark, question mark, question mark. And seriously, it just tickled me because I just laughed and laughed at the different responses that I got from the same text sent at the same time to two people who are related to me and I've raised and we're out together. And apparently he then said to my daughter, Mom just sent a text message that said, I love you. And she's, yeah, she does it all the time. And he's, no, she doesn't. And so now I'm making it a point to send him more messages too. Just number one, to keep him off guard. And number two, to stay in connection, to be in touch. You better believe when my daughter goes away to college next year, I'm going to be sending her messages, probably daily. And she doesn't have to respond all the time. But if you don't live with your child full time, or if they're away from home for a while, we want them to know that we're still thinking about them and we're connected with them. Try not to ask too many questions. I don't want expectations associated with these things, but I want them to feel that I'm there without them feeling like I'm intruding on their days. You can also actively try to create opportunities for casual connection like this. For example, some teens find it easier to talk when you're doing something together, like cooking or going for a walk or tidying up. But if your kiddo doesn't want to talk, don't force the conversation either. Leave it alone and wait for another opportunity to come up. Hey there. Okay, you've heard me talk about CTC Math for a long time, and I've been sharing testimonials from other people about it, but I want to share my own right now because it's been a while since I've talked about how we're using CTC Math. CTC is an amazing sponsor. They support our work here at the podcast. They actually sponsor a lot of different homeschool businesses and magazines and events because they're so committed to making sure that the homeschool resources you have at your fingertips are available to you, that you have access to what you need when you need it. I love CTC Math for that part of who they are, but I also love CTC Math as a customer. I have been a paying customer for years and years. My kids are using it in very different ways, and this is what I want to talk about. I've talked before about its adaptability, but let's talk about this. I'm 16 years into homeschooling. This is my 16th year, and our kids are using it very differently. I've got one kiddo who's very advanced in math. That kiddo is a grade level and a half ahead, and I have their level set to mastery at 90%, meaning they have to get 90% or above to move on to the next set of math problems because that child doesn't have to speed through it. They're already a year and a half ahead. And so I want them, if they're going to continue to accelerate, I want them to accelerate with deep understanding. My other kiddo who's currently using it is right on grade level, maybe a couple lessons behind. And so that kiddo's mastery is set at 80% because I don't need that kiddo to understand every single section and get every single problem right. I need that kiddo to understand the big picture of the concepts, get at least a B's level of work done so that they can move on to the next level, because that particular kiddo is probably not going into a mathy career, but they need the basic understanding. CTC allows the flexibility to do that. If you've got a kiddo, say in late elementary school, who is absolutely brilliant in math and can skip ahead to some high school level math, your subscription includes all the way up to calculus. You don't have to wait. You don't have to buy multiple levels of programs. If you've got a kiddo who you hit a snag and you realize, oh my gosh, we missed that section when we were learning third grade math, and now we've got to go back to do it. You don't have to go out and buy a third grade math workbook. You just go to the section in the third grade math program level and have your kiddo do that. How flexible is that? You have every level from kindergarten all the way to calculus at your fingertips for a very affordable price. Check out ctcmath.com. If you go over to the show notes and you click on the link, it will give you whatever the current discount or special they're offering Raising Lifelong Learners listeners, and you can check that out and take advantage of that. I so appreciate CTC. I know you're going to love it, and if you don't, they have a money-back guarantee, so you really do have nothing to lose. If you have any questions about CTC, you can always reach out to me, and I'm happy to answer those questions. All right, let's get back to today's episode. Okay, so those are great tips and easy to use tips for casual connecting with your tweens and teens and young adults. Here are some planned ideas, like ideas that you can plan out and you can execute with your preteens and teens. Planned connecting shows your kiddo that you want to spend time with them. It shows that and recognize that you all have busy lives, and that having more time apart and more of our own pulls on our attention can make it really difficult to spend fun time together, but you still want to make it a priority. You just need to plan it. Teenagers aren't always enthusiastic about spending time with their parents. Young adults especially aren't, but it's worth insisting that they do at least sometimes, or continuing to invite them without expectations. I think this is the place that a lot of parents of young adult children can get themselves into trouble, expecting that their kids owe them the time. I have a young adult child. Yes, he's still living here at home, but he's living here at home as an adult. And if he doesn't want to spend time with me, that's his prerogative. He does not have to. If he wants to make plans with his friends, he can. Now, every once in a while, I need help. There's one day this week that my husband has something for the end of the school year. He's a teacher, and so he won't be home till late, and my daughter and I have appointments that we needed to squeeze in for both of our asthma, with our asthma allergy immunology person. And the only time they could squeeze us in was like 4 and 5 o'clock. It's the same time one of my kids has hip hop, my younger one. And so I need a third driver. So part of the quote unquote rent is like being available to help out with the driving when possible. And so on that day, I need him to spend time with his younger brother and take him to his hip hop class and bring him home, because I have to go to the doctor and take my daughter to the doctor, and my husband won't be home from work. While we want our kids, even as adults, to participate with the family when they can, we also need to be understanding that's not always possible. That same adult child has been gone from the house for 4 days. He's staying with a cousin. He's having a great time. He's still getting like his job work done, his freelance work done, and he's on his own. That's fine. He doesn't owe me anything. He doesn't owe us the time here at home. And so we need to be really specific about scheduling time together. We need to find time that suits us both. And initially, like, we can do short things. We don't have to spend a ton of time together. I truly enjoy the speaking, like I said earlier, because it's a scheduled time that we are there together and forced to spend time together. And we go out to nice restaurants. We do interesting things. We have adventures. Like a recent trip was not in in an area that was very conducive to going out easily to eat, or even getting coffee was difficult because of the location this place was at. And so it set up some interesting and funny situations, which were very bonding and interesting to chat about. But you can let your child choose what you want to do. Your teen, your young adult, follow their lead. It's how I ended up with season passes to Cedar Point. It'll motivate your kiddo to want to spend time with you and the rest of the family. It's also fun to try activities maybe where your child is the expert or the person who's interested. Learning a new skill can boost your kids' confidence and yours. I remember a couple of years ago, my daughter wanted to do an escape room with a couple of her friends. And she didn't want me to be a part of it, which was fine. It was like a birthday party. And so they did that together. But I had to drive them there and I had to be there because they were underage. So I brought my adult son at the time. I think he was like 19 at the time. And he and I did axe throwing in that same facility. So we were on the premises, which I needed to be for the underage kids who were in the escape room, but we were doing something different. Neither of us had ever thrown axes before. It was a lot of fun. So try those new things with your kids when you can, your teens and young adults especially. Concentrate on enjoying their company. They're really interesting people. You have raised amazing kids. They're teens, they're young adults, but they're people and they're cool. So celebrate that coolness. Concentrate on who they are. Be an enthusiastic partner and actively cooperate with what your young adult, child, or teen are doing. The activity is less important than the shared fun and the talking with your young adult or teen. Be interested in accepting rather than correcting your child or giving advice. It's not easy, parents. It's not easy to give up on the teaching and the training and the coaching role that you have. It's always there underlying. And if any young adults or teens are listening to this too, know that's a struggle for your parents. Your parents want your life to be easy. They suffer when you suffer. They don't want you to have a tough time with any part of your life. And so they're not correcting you or coaching you through things to be overbearing or correcting for the most part. They really are just trying to help you avoid some of the situations they've gotten themselves into when they were young adults and teens. And so it's hard for them to stop doing that. But parents, try to give up that teaching and coaching role and use this time for building and improving your relationship with your teens and young adults. If you see a mistake or an easier way to do something, let it go. Let it go without commenting. It's not necessary to always correct and always be right. And we say this to our kids all the time. How many times have you told your teen, you don't have to be right all the time. Sometimes you just have to listen to what's going on. We need to take our own advice in that situation too. Connection is about being there with your kid and meeting them where they are. And so sometimes we just have to bite our tongue. Keep trying, stay positive. At first, your teen and your young adult might not be as excited as you are about spending time with one another and taking part in different activities together. Keep plan times brief to begin with, and your child will come to enjoy this time with you. Okay, so some of the things that might be holding us back from connecting with our young adult children and our teens is that our kids might be reluctant. Let's just say maybe you have a kiddo who is reluctant to spend time with you. Some of the things you could try to avoid that is you could keep things brief to begin with. Try a cup of coffee at a favorite coffee shop. You could keep it spontaneous. Find ways to spend quality time together rather than booking it in advance. Ask your child, your teen, your young adult to come up with things they'd like to do with you and work through their list. Use technology to connect with your kids. Send funny memes or text messages to stay connected through the day, but don't overdo it. And then don't give up. It might take a little while, but the more time you spend together, the more you can both relax into it. Maybe your teen refuses to talk to you about what they're doing. They may feel closer if you make the most out of casual conversations during the day or during your time together. Every little chat is an opportunity to listen and talk in a positive and relaxed way. And a lot of times you learn more and you get more from your kids the more casual you are about it. You don't always have to probe deeper. And you need to know that you're not always going to get shared with. Be content with the nuggets they give you and keep asking and keep sharing. Sometimes you might feel like you're the only one trying, and you might be for a while. Your teens and your young adults are designed to start finding their own way in the world. And so if you continue to be kind and considerate to your child, they're going to come back and they're going to be kind and considerate to you. They're going to have positive feelings towards you. They're not going to feel like you're holding them back. They're going to feel like you're still there and you keep trying. Sometimes simple things make a big difference, like saying please to them, giving hugs, pats on the back, knocking before entering their bedroom, cooking a favorite meal, or planning surprise fun activities that you know that they'll enjoy, and not having the expectations. Like they might not be all in. They might have other plans. It's okay. Your job isn't to control. Your job is to facilitate the opportunities for connection as they get older, knowing that it is literally their job to start finding their own way in the world. And so you want to bridge that gap between them pushing away and you trying to hold them back where they just feel like you're there to support them. It creates a more positive environment when you're like that, even if your child isn't joining in. The more positive you can stay in the situation, the more positive the whole experience is going to be. Make a point of doing kind things, even when you don't feel like it. It sets a great example for your child and helps them see the value in spending time with you. Here's a funny example of that. It was funny to me, but you just never know what your kids are seeing and what they're observing. I had dropped off my teen daughter, my older teen, my senior, at something she was doing with friends or something. And it ended up being, I didn't have to stay, and I was going to go back and pick her up hours and hours later. And so I had all this bonus time with my 12 and 15-year-old that I wasn't expecting. And I had my 22-year-old and his friend on call because I didn't think that I was going to be home, and I didn't want the 12 and 15-year-old to just be alone all night. And I knew that they were going to be there and maybe they'd play games or something. So they decided that two adult kids, my son and his friend, just decided to hang out. And so they were just hanging out, ignoring the 15 and 12-year-old and vice versa. So I texted my 15-year-old and I said, if you and your brother are ready and on the driveway when I pull up, which will be 34 minutes from now, I'll let you jump in the car and we'll go get ice cream. Don't tell your brother. I'm just going to get that for us. And I wasn't going to get it for the adult kids. And then I was driving and I was like, that's just crummy. I'm not going to do that. They would appreciate ice cream too. So I texted my oldest one and I said, do you and your friend, I said his name, want Dairy Queen Blizzards or something? I'm going to pick up Logan and Isaac and we're going to go through the drive-thru of Dairy Queen. And like instantly they sent me back yes and their order. And so I'm picking up Logan and Isaac and we start going, and Logan's, I didn't tell Trevor and his friend. And I said, I did. We're going to bring them back something. And my daughter, Logan, goes, you're just the kindest person ever. You just can't not include everybody. And it was so sweet the way she said it. And she was like so genuinely impressed that I was like, this is the person I want to be. I want them to see that. I want them to see that it doesn't take much. It was like an extra $6, but not excluding was the right thing. And just doing it like that helped her see how much that means to other people. And they're watching, right? So the more that we do kind things, the more that they feel the kindness and feel that we would be there for them if they messed up or if they needed something. Our kids are watching, our teens are watching, our young adults are watching. And our job to connect doesn't stop just because they get older. It gets harder. I've talked before on the last couple of podcast episodes and in my newsletter recently that in the month of June, so next month, we are focusing on family connection in the Learners Lab. The Learners Lab is my membership community for families who are outside the box and are looking for creative ways to homeschool. We do creative thinking activities in there. We do social and emotional learning because every one of us human beings needs to learn how to interact with others. And it's especially important for neurodivergent families to understand their own emotions and feelings and be able to regulate them while understanding other people have emotions and feelings too. We also have some clubs in there and different things. But this month, the month of June, we will be doing a family connection challenge where for an entire week, there will be a mission every day for you to, it's like detective themed, cracking the code on family connection. And every day I'm going to go live for just about 10 minutes, tell you what your mission for the day is, and give you access to a printable that you can print or you can just use in the membership community that gives you something to do. Things like scavenger hunts, kindness scavenger hunts, and activities with your kids, to table talk games, family game nights, jokes. So connecting through laughter, connecting through table conversations, one-on-one time, shared learning, mini rituals, different things like that. And then we'll celebrate. After a week of doing that, we'll come back the next week and we'll celebrate all of the successes that we had. There's going to be prizes. I've got some prizes donated from some great companies, including Pampered Chef. They sent me a gift box, a kids cooking box. There's lots of fun things that are happening, but I don't want anybody to miss out. I think family connection is so crucial to our growth and development as human beings, especially when we're raising neurodivergent people. And so I'm opening it up to everybody out there. You can join us for free for the Family Connection Challenge, the cracking the code to a deeper family connection, by going to the link in the show notes and signing up, joining the community. There's a free community on the Circle platform where the membership community is. Now, if you are a member and you're listening to this, you're going to get added bonuses. You're going to get additional opportunities for different prizes, additional prizes, and more conversations about it. But we will have all of the live sessions, all of the challenges issued, and many of the prizes available in the free group as well. So you have the opportunity to join us for that portion of it. And then you can stay in the free community and hear about all the things that are happening on the podcast and the website for as long as you want to stay. But go to the show notes for this episode and click the registration link, and it will take you to a page where you can join the Raising Lifelong Learners community on a platform called Circle. Circle is just an off social media platform that is where we can host groups. So you can go there and you can join in the Family Connection Challenge and participate all through the month of June, specifically live with daily challenges the week of June 16th. So June 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. I'll be live each of those days in there, sharing a new mission for your family to complete that day. And then the following week, on Monday, June 23rd, we'll have a celebration where families can share all of the great things that happened that week, along with some prizes that you can earn and win for joining us. So I hope that you go and sign up to join the Family Connection Challenge. These are activities that your whole family can participate in, big and small, teen or tween, or itty bitty kiddo, and I hope you do. Remember that there are so many benefits to connecting with your kids that I keep revisiting the topic again and again, because I want you to remember how important family connection is. It doesn't mean being perfect. It just means showing up, looking at your kiddo, looking them in the eye, helping them to know that they matter and that you're on their team and that you love being with them. You've got this. I'm so proud of you already, whether you join our challenge or not, though I hope that you join us in the lab. Go over to the show notes for this episode, raisinglifelonglearners.com/podcast, and you can click on the most recent podcast and join the challenge. There will also be a button on the main page that you can click on to join. It'll also be in my newsletter, so there'll be plenty of ways for you to join the challenge if you miss it on the show notes. But on the show notes for this episode, there'll be links to other resources to help you connect at a deeper level with your family, and I hope that you check those out. Again, we'll be back same time, same place next week with another episode. And until then, in the meantime, I hope you enjoy your kids. Thanks for being here. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.